Amazing. So let's go into this topic. This one, why nobody talks about the conflict, and why it's so hard to talk about the conflict, and why nobody talks about the conflict.
Yeah. Why? I just saw on the news the vice president of the US came back from Pakistan after 21 hours of talks to come to a agreement about the ceasefire in Iran. Talks failed.
Yeah,
Why? Is it because they don't want a ceasefire? Why?
yeah. I love how you just frame that actually we live in the conflicts all the time and it's already kind of normalized. And I don't know where I read that. It seems like humankind spent more years in wars than not in wars. There is a war going on all the time somewhere in the world. So I've been thinking, hey, maybe it's like more normal to have conflict than not to have conflict, because we always have it somehow. Yeah.
Are we wired for conflict as humans? Is it that we have a conflict reflex because we've done it for so long?
Do we want it or do we not want it? Still, the wars happen and we have conflicts in relationship within ourselves. Then in the nature, and I would want to possibly talk about that a little bit more
What did you mean?
when I was observing, well, the nature, but I'm not the only one. You can find that in books and everywhere. That when I first looked at the forest, it seems so like harmonious, so nice, so cool. Everything loves everything in the nature in forest. It seemed like that, like the trees love the trees, and they kind of agree on everything. But then I learned how everything happens, that they actually fight their way through that. For the sun, they fight with each other, who gets more, who gets less, all the time. And then in the animal world, it's kind of the same. It looks so harmonious on the outside. You go out and think, okay, they kind of agree, but it's kind of an intense conflict in the background. Like the sea and then the rocks, that it's like
Yeah,
this happens all the time. You
yeah.
cannot avoid that. Yeah. Maybe the most normal part of life, like the people say, like death is part of life, that maybe conflict is even more part of life. The most contrarian idea probably is that it is super normal to have conflict.
It
Mm.
makes me think of the Big Bang, like the world started with a Big Bang. The world started with a conflict.
Yeah, Big Bang.
Have you or either of us had a situation where a relationship started with a conflict? I can think of a relationship that started with a Big Bang, an immediate dislike, where there was
Mm.
mutual. I don't like you, you
Okay.
don't like me. We both noticed it. We went for a really long walk around this lake a few times for a few hours. We talked and talked and talked. We found we had so much in common. We were part of a working environment, a community environment that was really, really complicated. We came out friends for life. We had impressions. We'd had other parties tell us things about the other one and what the other one had said. As I am today, I would probably say our own dislike was constellated also by the environment we're in. We had to cut through that, break through that to find who is the other person and go really deep. We've been friends now for maybe 30 years.
Wow.
And when life is really, really bad, we talk to each other.
Unbelievable how it all started. Yeah.
With the other side, I can think of a lifelong relationship that began with dislike and then never went away. No matter how hard I've worked on it, it has been exhausting.
So you're kind of
You
saying
know,
that the conflicts can stay and stay, and they're not always meant to be resolved. That's so cool. I consciously thought that in my life I had some relationships or very cool relationships who started with conflicts, with quarrels, and that was a good way to like kind of deepen that. It was not that I consciously could do that all the time, but somehow those relationships which started like that, they got more like more deeper, more serious afterwards. And then I also thought
mm,
that maybe that's like belongs to the part why we don't talk about the conflict. That my mom has always been teaching me, that uh, if you're a smart person and smart people, they don't make conflicts. You are above that. So if you see a fight or a quarrel, you're smart. Remember that. And if you're smart, or since you're smart, you're above that. So I saw that conflicts are something for like lower people, from lower castes or with more stupid people. And thus I was like not liking conflict, from my childhood because I was taught like that. You're
Interesting.
smart. Yeah. So you don't mess with
Smart,
others.
smart people don't mess with others, don't have conflicts.
Yeah. Society has these narratives like to keep us out of conflict. It's also smart, don't you think, that we have these narratives? I mean, the intent is not that bad, no? It seems like they are belong to the society and some part of mechanisms which are meant to keep us away from mischief and probably reduce wars and reduce pain. And what were you taught, by the way, in your childhood?
I remember as a small child hearing my parents fight about somebody they knew that was getting divorced.
Oh,
My father wanted to go and speak to the guy and say, "You should hang in, don't do it." My mother was very angry with my father and said, "It's none of your business. Somebody else's conflict is none of your business." I'm already riffing off you and thinking, what was I
yeah, yeah.
taught? Interesting.
Hmm.
We taught don't butt in other people's business. Other people's conflicts are none of your business. Then on the other hand, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
nobody says what they see. Hey, what's going on? Nobody says anything until the thing blows up into something really big. I saw it. You saw it. He saw it. She saw it. Nobody went in to help.
Can I stay on the other side a little bit? Yeah, and say, hey, um, I don't know what to do first. If I go and try to help, it doesn't end well because it hasn't been ending well. All these hundreds of times my generations were participating like that. So it doesn't end well. I don't know what to do, and I will only suffer. Conflicts is something like suffering, it's like pain out there. Why would I go into the pain? Because it's already out there. There's no solution for that. So I'd rather stay away. And I'd rather pretend there is no conflict because that seems to be a solution. At least we have some more or less normal atmosphere. More or less, okay? Like not 100%, but like at least 20% normal. Good enough.
Yeah, until on my side, I'd rather try to do something than do nothing.
Why would you try? What motivates you, is Julia, to try to do that? I mean, apart from the general narratives like to make better for the world, or maybe that's the one which moves you to participate in the conflict.
If the relationship matters to me, I want to do something. If the relationship doesn't matter to me, I don't
Mhm.
feel motivated to do something because it just keeps the thing going.
Yeah, I see. So you're talking about your relationship, right?
Yes. Then there's the level of watching things that go on where people are in a really bad way, friends, people on the street, countries, nations, communities. I'll just stay in my own little house, my own little world, my own little universe, and
Yeah,
just hope that nobody does anything bad to me.
that's smart. Yeah, don't you think it's a good idea already to notice in myself, like when I see the conflict, and first I notice that I see it, then I notice that I don't want to participate. And then maybe I notice why I don't want to participate. Aren't these steps super necessary so that I could later participate? Because if there's somebody pushing me and saying, hey, you need to participate because you need to be a good citizen, a world citizen, whatever, a good relationship person, you need to do it
Yeah,
like the first steps. If I
yeah,
kind of over jump that, like not understanding. Do I notice the conflict? If there is a conflict, what are the narratives? Like my mother's, my father's, my family, whatever, are in my head. I don't think I would be able to, and I would want to, like, jump into the conflict.
Mm. Haven't you ever been in a situation where you're on a street and you see two people fighting and you can't help it? You go in there.
I'm more on the avoiding like
Mm.
side, I'm the one
Mm.
to avoid that. And that's
Hmm.
my like most typical behavior.
Countries do that. They invade each other because they think you're doing the wrong
Mhm.
thing. And look what a mess that's made. Maybe I'm a little bit
Oh,
on
yeah.
that side. Maybe for the first time, I've actually just understood that.
Could you say more about that?
Yeah, the one who says, I think that what your group is doing is wrong over there. I feel so strongly about it. I'm going to go in and try and stop you and make a big mess. I'm coming on your
Mhm.
side.
Wow.
Wow.
Kind of de-escalated a little bit, when you were saying that I'm doing the wrong thing. That was already cool because you were saying that. You kind of were bringing all your intentions on the table. And in most cases, people are not saying that. Don't you feel that? I mean, they do a
Yes,
lot
I
of
agree.
stuff,
I
yeah,
agree.
by sort of mentioning that, hinting at that, and you can feel the conflict is in the
Yes.
air, but there is no one on the other side. You cannot catch anyone. There's everybody says, no, I agree, you're a nice guy. So but still there's a conflict in the air.
Wow.
I learned now that if the conflict is clearly put out, it's already a better situation. Like you can sniff
Mm.
it, you can feel it, you can
Yes.
sense it, but you cannot grab anyone. There's no
Yes.
other party.
Oh,
You cannot even fight with anyone yet, till it's not
yes.
an explosion. But it's here and everybody's so nice, but you feel you sense the conflict. So that's really cool. It's much better if it's already out there as a first step. If it's out there, yeah.
This conversation is putting a spotlight on something that I haven't really looked at. Framing the conflict that exists in a way that's more detached from your own involvement doesn't come with, and I'm going to do something about it.
Mm.
That's really new for me. I love that.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
love that. I'm going to try that. And maybe I'm
You're
better at making
courageous.
them than avoiding them.
I love how you
Wow.
frame that. Taking the courage to say, I don't like what you're doing. But then maybe there are people for whom it's very easy and they naturally do that. But for many people, for me, like it's hard to say it.
It's hard for me too. But I do have a new insight from this discussion that framing the conflict is different from putting my own force inside it,
Like what?
just describing a thing that is.
You mean not
Yeah,
going
we have
into
a
the resolution,
conflict.
not being committed to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
resolution?
I think we have a conflict and I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what we should do about it. I don't know if we should do anything about it, but it's a relief
Oh,
to say we don't get on so well.
wow, powerful.
I don't do that. I go, look, we got a conflict.
Yeah.
Even if I try not to do that, you see, I'm trying not to do that. Maybe that's the inner work part.
That's really cool. I mean, what you were saying, you need to be in this middle spot when you are detached from your side, detached from the other side. I don't even think I could ever do that. But if I can at least pick up my side, which has some reproaches, if I at least can say in any kind of emotional state, I could say we have a conflict. If even if I'm super irritated with the person now, that's already something instead of like saying no, no conflict, no, or maybe you have a conflict. I don't have a conflict with you. I'm really cool with you. Come on, not conflict. No, how can you even think we have, because like 90% of time I would rather be in the latter part. I just try to highlight how strong the tendency is to keep away. I mean, how many
Yeah, yeah,
infrastructure has been
yeah,
built and scaffolding has been built
exactly,
internally, externally, like rules, team
exactly,
rules, corporate world. You cannot say
exactly.
all of that stuff, like it's so powerful.
It's really hard to grab hold of it. I would rather try and fail than not try personally. What about you?
I love it. I love it. I really love your determination to go and try it. Because for me, the biggest issue was and has been why try at all? Of course, if I have a relationship, it sort of like sets the goal. I mean, it brings the motivation. This is a meaningful relationship. But then in general, why try? Like first I thought, okay, I should contribute, to the world well-being somehow. But that doesn't stick, to tell you the truth. I don't have inner urge which pushes me to save the world. So then I thought, okay, maybe I'm just a bad citizen, world citizen or Ukrainian or Spanish citizen. So I got depressed a little bit, but then I understood, okay, what moves me is like in hero's journey, you start like super motivated, then you eventually always run into conflict, into some issue, into some disturbance, into some problem. And then when you overcome that, somehow some great stuff emerges, something really cool emerges, some creative things which I couldn't have thought could possibly emerge. They do emerge. And now there is a little part in me which is curious, I was getting bored in this conflict. And this little curiosity sort of moves me into this
Wow.
type of things. I don't want to save anyone. I don't want to, whatever, heal the world. But the curiosity, let's try to see what's boiling here.
That's really profound. That really touches me. That really went right into me.
What part?
You're curious. What can grow from this conflict? What's getting born from this conflict? Don't you find that
Mm,
completely changes something energetically? I'm thinking of a conflict.
mm,
What's getting born of this conflict? The awareness, the futility of the conflict, the futility of holding a grudge.
no.
It goes nowhere. It's really hard to let go, but it goes nowhere. There is nothing useful
Mm,
about this grudge that I can think of sitting here now, and I've had it for many, many decades.
mm. Wow.
Futility.
Utility. I love it. Okay. I understand that conflicts are everywhere and they are much more like spread out than I think. Then I also understand it's in the nature. It's a very good, like positive part to that it's in the nature, present. Either I want it or not want it, it's present somehow. We don't want to go into them, right? And we have built lots of infrastructure and narratives, so it will take a lifetime to work through them. Okay, but that also makes sense because the intent is good. I mean, we want less conflict, but possibly we chose not the best direction, like, or not the best path by saying stay away from conflict because somehow it makes more
Mm,
conflict or doesn't resolve it as we see, like we
that's
keep
amazing.
circling and circling and circling. And then why go and solve the con or work with conflict? Because somebody has his or her own thing. In my case, it's like curiosity a little bit. In somebody's case, maybe someone is really saving the world. I envy these people, who are congruently in this role
Yeah,
and can believe they save the world.
yeah.
And yeah.
Just sort of reminded me what you're saying that, as Anna Windell once wrote, the end to war is not peace, it's coming closer together.
Hmm.
And that is not an easy thing. So if you think the end of war is peace, oh yeah, I want peace. But if you think the end of war is coming closer together, and I think of that lifelong conflict, I don't want to come closer together. So I'm actually perpetuating the war.
Wow,
Wow.
that's powerful. So maybe next
Okay.
time we could talk a little bit, right, about like some
Yeah.
how to tackle that or how to avoid that. I mean, some more practical stuff, whatever. That's really
We'll have
cool.
plenty of opportunities to practice, no doubt, as life gives many opportunities to notice these
That's right.
reactions. Wow. See you later.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. That's really
We'll have
cool.